Hey, it's Rebecca, and welcome to Returning, a podcast to return to yourself and the wisdom within. I'm so glad you're here with me. Today on Returning, You Are Not For Everyone, a reading from my first book, Light is the New Black. And it's on page 256 if you'd like to read along. You are not for everyone. The world is filled with people who, no matter what you do, will point blank not like you. But it's also filled with those who will love you fiercely. They are your people. You are not for everyone, and that is okay. Talk to the people who can hear you. Don't waste your precious time and gifts trying to convince them of your value. They won't ever want what you're selling. Don't convince them to walk alongside you. You'll be wasting both your time and theirs, and will likely inflict unnecessary wounds, which will take precious time to heal. You are not for them, and they are not for you. Politely wave them on and continue along your way. Sharing your path with someone is a sacred gift. Don't cheapen this gift by rolling yours in the wrong direction. Keep facing your true north. So I find it really incredible. It's essentially a chapter in my first book, Light is the New Black, because as always with most of my writing, I tend to write it for me because I need it. I'm facing a challenge, or I have a question that I'm living into, and I'm connecting in with God, Source, Goddess, the sacred, to guide me through that challenging time. And the time I was in when I was writing that chapter, I remember the moment it happened. I was walking, it was the top of Hyde Park at Primrose Hill in London. I remember literally, I know the spot to like the square meter on the grass there at the base of Primrose Hill where it came in fully formed. You are not for everyone. At the time, I was writing Light is the New Black, and I'd received the guidance to write a book to support people who resonate with the term light worker, and light worker being, someone who is a healer, someone who is called to bring about a positive change in the world. I was being called to write a book to light workers for them to gather the courage to let themselves be seen and to answer the call within them. So essentially just to say yes to their purpose, regardless of whether they know what that purpose is or every step along the way, like to reconnect in with their purpose and a life that lights them up. Because I think ultimately if we follow what lights us up, we light up the world without even trying. And anyway, I'd known myself for quite some time of what my soul was calling me to do, which was to write and to host workshops and to put my creations out in the world a little bit more visibly. And oh my God, I was so scared to do it. I was so afraid of haters and negative comments and, people who maybe in the industry I was in before in advertising being like, what is she doing? And I was also very, very aware at the same time of feeling like I was living a bit of a double life. So I'd had this life that I'd consciously created, which, I wanted at the time, and this career and friends and all of that. And yet something new within me was emerging, and I felt like I wasn't quite, I was definitely in a spiritual closet, and I wasn't really letting the world see who I really was. I wasn't being inauthentic, but I wasn't being courageous. And I realized that, the biggest thing that was holding me back was this fear of being seen and heard and not being accepted. And yet I had this deep, deep yearning at the same time to share my voice, to share my creations, to share my gifts, but also to find my people, to find people who were like me. And, this isn't to say, don't be friends with people who aren't the same as you. Like, we need a diverse mix of people in our lives for sure. But what I'm talking about is from a soul perspective, like your people, the ones who have your back fiercely no matter what, who, maybe they're the same kind of weird as you. Maybe they look completely different. Maybe what they do for work is completely different, but maybe there is an essence about them. I've experienced this myself all through my life. It's such a rare and special occurrence when you meet someone who is, I would call it a soul friend. And that was really what I was writing when I wrote You're Not For Everyone. Really receiving the guidance of embracing who you really are and letting the world see who you really are. Every time you do that, it becomes easier and easier. And in my experience, it is so life changing and so soul affirming when we gather the courage to let ourselves be seen. I've really seen it in my own life that when we do gather that courage, then the people who are our people are able to recognize us. They're able to recognize us when we walk past them, If you're feeling like, things are a little bit out of alignment, or maybe you're not really showing up as like who you really are from a soul perspective, or you're feeling a bit nervous to share your gifts or be true to you, I really want to encourage you to little by little begin to start sharing who you really are with the world. Because I think when you do that, we light up because we're sharing who we really are from a soul perspective. And then just as amazingly, our people, our soul family are able to recognize us when we let ourselves be seen. And so You Are Not For Everyone is from my book, Light Is the New Black, which is a guide to answering your soul's calling and working your light. I'm curious about how it lands with you, and as always, holding you in my prayers.